So skill number one, strategic thinking. So strategic thinking, it's basically a process that defines the way people think about, assess, view, create the future for themselves and for others around them. It's about developing a mindset and a thought process that focuses on the analysis of critical factors and variables that will influence the long-term success of a business, a team, a product, an individual. So strategic thinking skills are among the most highly sought after product management competencies. Why? Because product managers capable of thinking critically, logically, and strategically can have a huge impact on the business's success. Strategic thinking is the skill that separates the role of a product manager from the job of a product owner. It's product management that thinks further into the future. As a product manager, you're creating the vision, you're driving product growth. Whereas with product ownership, your focus is more on the much needed functional, operational, execution-based responsibilities within your team. And therefore, great strategic thinkers are very well-rounded, and you have the ability to balance outcomes, overcome obstacles, communicate effectively. You can test against your biases, and you're ultimately a creative thinker. So for example, right, think back to the last time you participated in a planning meeting in your company. Most likely you were presented with a challenge to solve, right, or a goal that you had to achieve. And if you think about it, what were your contributions to that meeting? You know, were you able to communicate your idea in a logical way? And were you an active participant in the conversation? Did you have compelling ideas that you brought? Were you creative in trying the solution for whatever problem that was that you were solving? So for those interviewing for product management roles, I think my advice would be to be really prepared to answer questions like, describe a product you like and why. And if you want to improve your strategic thinking skills, the good news is that with the right mindset and practice, you absolutely can. If you want to improve your strategic thinking skills, one of the simplest things you can do is ask more questions, because doing so allows you to exercise your planning skills, become adept to spotting opportunities, and develop a strategic mindset you can leverage throughout your career. You can ask questions like, how can we strategically position ourselves to enter a market? Or, what's the direction for growth for each of our products or product lines or segments? The second thing you can do, I would say, is really observe and reflect, right? In addition to asking questions, it's not just about asking questions, but it's also about being able to answer them in a very skillful manner. And what I've found is one of the most effective ways of accomplishing this is to observe and reflect on your current situation, essentially a retrospect, ensuring your strategy that you're conceiving is actually grounded in facts. So for example, imagine that the company you work for has started losing clients in a particular segment. And at the same time, maybe it's gained market share in an entirely new segment, right? Because of economic factors or changes that have resulted in that. So, at first blush, it's easy to assume, right? Based on, let's say, gut feel or your intuition that this may be the reason why this is happening, but if you do that, it can lead you down the wrong path. So instead of blindly following an assumption, I would suggest gather as much information as possible to use when crafting your strategy. So for example, this might include, in this particular instance, conducting user interviews, validating the different jobs that the customers that your users are hiring your products to perform, and really understanding new customers. How are they attracted to your product? What's the customer acquisition model look like or strategy look like? This can really enable you to tailor your marketing strategy and your product development to better serve the market needs. And I'd say, don't be afraid to consider opposing ideas as well. So, once you've landed on, let's say, your strategy, you've done your due diligence, you really have the strategy that can, help your company reach its goals, it's really good to question your assumptions and put your hypothesis through rigorous testing. Because when you do that, you can ensure you're not just overlooking other possibilities that you may have missed. It's about playing devil's advocate with your ideas, and that can really help you identify blind spots or weaknesses and equip you to defend your strategy when others ask questions, right? Because when you are committed to a strategy, you have to own it and evangelize it across your company, within your team. So it's really important to, think of it with the devil's advocate approach. It's really helped me. It can also help you sharpen your logic skills when you need to communicate with others and allow you to uncover your own biases. We all have biases, and when you do that, you really can think from different perspectives and develop this skill and get in the habit of questioning yourself anytime you are about to make an assertion. Should you consider a different perspective? Is there another possibility that you may have overlooked? The last thing on this I would suggest is, get some formal training as well. So in today's age, everyone should embrace continuous learning. And there's so many different learning options within product management today that you can pursue. Thanks to organizations like the Institute of Product Leadership, if you need to quickly ramp up your strategy skills, you can enroll in their learning program or strengthen your product mindset with so many even free resources out there that are available in this particular area.